cost. The cost will be the objective, and also we need to measure depend from the ability to trace cost to cost object. In here, we can have an item or activity that is typically accumulated and measure like product, customer order, contract, and so on. And then the importance of cost information, because we can understand the profit-oriented company or non-profit-oriented company that input should be larger than output. Input should be smaller than output. So how many costs we need to sacrifice should be smaller than how many income we can get from product we produce. That's why we study about the cost accounting. And from the cost classification, it will divide into several criteria. The first one as the object of expenditure. So we can name it the cost by using the object of expenditure. And also we can have the criteria in main function in a company for production, marketing, and general and administration. Or next, we will call marketing and general and administration as commercial costs. So we have commercial costs and production costs. And from relationship between cost and what is finance, we can divide into direct costs and indirect costs. Cost behavior against activity, or we should consider about the production volume. Then we divide the cost into variable and fixed costs. You already study about variable cost and fixed costs, but right now we have some information about semi-variable costs. And the last one, from the benefit period, whether it's in the long-term period, we can call it capital expenditure or capital cost. If we just use in the short-term period, we'll call it revenue expenditure. Let's discuss one by one from expenditure object. So if we name the cost by or based on expenditure object. So for example, the name of expenditure object is fuel. Then expenditure related to fuel, we can name it fuel cost. Or the other example for salary and wage cost, depreciation cost, insurance cost, raw material cost, and the other example. And the other definition is cost by main function in a company, production cost. So in the production cost, it's involved direct material costs, direct labor costs, and factory overhead costs. Factory we divide into indirect material costs and indirect labor costs. This include in production costs. Meanwhile, for marketing costs and general administrative costs like advertising, promotion, sample costs, finance, employee, human resource, public relation, prototyping, and other information for administrative costs, it will include in commercial costs. So for make it easy, anything costs happen in the production floor, we can name as production costs. And the other in the office or maybe in the supplement office, we can call it as commercial costs. How about the director wage or director salary? It's included in where? President director is included in general and administrative costs, right? So it will include in the commercial costs, not in production costs. How about the labor who produce some product using machine?
Production costs.
So directly include in the production process, it will call it as production costs. And the next one is about relationship between cost and those finance, direct cost and indirect cost. Direct cost incurred because something is being financed, like raw material costs and direct labor costs. Indirect costs incurred are not solely due to the item being financed. Indirect production costs, factory overhead like salary of foreman for product, or maybe there is a lot some worker, we call it as outsourcing workers. Yeah, outsourcing, not the fixed worker company. The outsourcing worker, it can include it in the indirect or overhead costs. And indirect department costs like electricity costs. Why electricity include in indirect, not direct costs? Because electricity, we need electricity
Yes.
to operate the machine, but electricity sometimes not only using in production floor but also in other department, and electricity is not included directly to produce some product. That's why it can be using an indirect department cost. Okay. Jadwalnya belum ya harusnya. 13.45 ya.
45.
Cepetan. Apa ya, biar selesai ya. Oke, next. And we also have cost behavior against the activity or production volume. I think you already understand about the variable cost. If we produce more product, then the variable cost will be larger. But if we discuss about the fixed cost, there is no difference between we produce more or less product. So the cost remain constant. Okay. And the semi-variable cost. Semi-variable cost has both fixed and variable cost element. So it means that a certain amount of cost item is a fixed cost, while the rest is a semi-variable. So for example, electricity for lighting is fixed cost, but electricity to run factory machinery, because machine just will work if we have some production operation. That's why the electricity to run factory machinery will determine as variable cost. Okay. Some costs not only have fixed but also variable cost, so we can include it in the semi-variable cost. And the last categories based on the benefit period. There is capital expenditure and revenue expenditure. We call it capital expenditure when the benefit more than one accounting period, or usually it related with investment costs. When we establish some company and then we should buy some land or some machine or some tools, it not only used one time in operation, but it used in some term, some term, in long term. That's why it can call as capital expenditure, purchase of fixed asset, major repairs to fixed asset and other. However, for revenue expenditure, costs that only have benefit in the accounting period in which they occur, for example, the labor costs. And maybe in the other subject, you will hear about life cycle costs, historical costs, past costs, sunk costs, opportunity costs, and marginal costs. We already learned about opportunity cost and marginal cost in introduction of economy, but life cycle cost maybe it will take in another subject. Have you heard about it? And historical cost. Maybe in the subject of product development, you will learn about life cycle cost, because in product development we will start the process from research and development before we jump to the production. In historical cost, I think you will get the information about past cost and sunk cost in engineering economy. So this is the different one. Past cost is all of cost that we sacrificed last time, like investment cost or maybe like the fixed cost. But sunk cost, we also invest in the last time. However, maybe when we like bought some machine, but the machine have some trouble, then we cannot work using that machine. However, the machine cannot return to the manufacturer. So we still have the machine, but they cannot give us some advantages, and we already spend some money to buy that machine. It means at some cost. And the next one is about how we collect the information regarding cost from several activities. We will divide into two kind method. The first one is job order cost and the next process cost. We call it as job order cost method when the company produce based on order, or usually we mention about assembly to order, make to order system, assembly to order system. So when we collect the cost, we use job order cost method. So based on the order. Production costs are collected for the specific order count and production costs per unit of product produced to fulfill the order. That's why the production cost per unit of product is equal to total production costs on particular order divided by the number of production unit produced in particular order. So the example is some small industry and they have make to order method for maybe some uniform. And when Ahmed order for 100 pieces of uniform and then Bio order 200 pieces of uniform, we can calculate the cost based on the different order of Ahmed and Bio. Maybe Ahmed will have the production cost higher because the quantity is smaller than Bio order. Bio order 200, Ahmed 100. So the production cost maybe will be higher if we have the same quality. Because you should remember the fixed cost is still the same. And Ahmed should cover the similar fixed cost with Bio cover. That's why when we have order method in here, we can get the production cost by divide with the number of product unit. The different one with process cost. Process cost, it apply in mass production company. So costs are collected for a specific period and production cost per unit of product produced in a period. Because the flow for production process is continuous. There is no difference between one order and to the other. That's why, because the continuous flow, we can divide the production cost by using time frame. Define the time frame. So I want to calculate how many production costs for today. So we have the time frame only this day. Or maybe for 1 month or 1 year. It's different between one company to another company. So in this mass production cost per unit of product equal to total production cost on particular period divided by the number of product unit produced in certain period. So the difference is this one by particular order and the other one by particular period. Later we will discuss more detail about job order cost method and process cost method. Next is about production cost determination method. We will have full costing and variable costing. full costing, we will consider all element of production cost. Sorry, Ahmed, because it's in Indonesia. Yeah, all element of production cost means that not only variable but also fixed cost we consider in our method by calculating in full costing. Meanwhile, for variable costing, a method of determining production cost that only takes variable production cost. Then, which cost we should eliminate in this slide? This is the similar one with full costing, but there is also fixed cost that include in this graph. However, variable costing only consider about variable production cost. Therefore, we should eliminate some of cost that already mentioned, biaya overhead pabrik tab. This is fixed overhead, okay, and then general and affairs, fixed general and affairs costs, and marketing fixed costs. Yeah, all of fixed costs we should eliminate in variable costing. We just consider for the variable costs. Usually we use this variable costing method when we want to learn about the operation timing. Yeah, so only consider about if our company still can operate in the next day or not. But in the long term, point of view, in the long term, we will use the full costing because not only for variable but also for the investment or fixed cost we consider in this. Okay, and the next one is, have I show you this one last week? Not yet. Okay. And the next one is about company income statement for profit and loss. We will define for, we will compare between manufacturing and trading. Do you know what is different between manufacturing and trading?
For manufacturing, currently we produce the goods, but for trading we bought and we sell.
Yeah, good. Absolutely right. Okay, thank you. Yeah, like Fadel said, manufacturing, there is a production process, but in trading we don't need to produce. We just buy for some manufacturer and then sell it. Okay, that's the difference between manufacturing and trading sector. That's why the type of cost is also different. In trading, we don't need to sacrifice some some process to convert from raw material to finished good. But in trading, we just need to sacrifice some cost to buy some product and then sell it. Okay, that's why the report, the company income statement also different. In this, what can I say? In this subject, I will use a lot of Indonesian as an example, but yeah, I'm so sorry. But for the explanation, I will try my best to translate it in English because it's a little bit hard to convert the image into Indonesian form, and when we discuss about this form, it will relate it to the next slide. Yeah. Okay. So hopefully all of you will help Ahmed to translate this one. Well, for trading sector, this is laporan laba rugi or income statement. For income statement for trading, we can observe that there is no production process cost. It's start by the salary or income based on selling, and then we can calculate the profit after giving some tax. But for the manufacturing sector, we can see there is a production cost. So there is a difference in here. there is a production cost before we obtain the net profit after we giving the tax. Okay. Well, this is the initial information about. Okay.
I have a question.
Mhm.
Which one is gaining more profit if we compare between manufacturing and then to trading? For example, if we want to produce or maybe like we trade some manufacturing in oil and gas sector for instance.
Okay. First, we need to assume whether the manufacturing and trading is in the same condition. As we can see in the real case, we can conclude that manufacturing always have more profit than trading because in the supply chain sector, let me take example. Okay, you know Toyota, right? Yeah. Toyota is manufacturing or trading? Manufacturing. How about Astra?
Trading.
Is it? Trading.
Trading. It's the different one. Okay. So because the business process is different, and we cannot conclude that Astra have more opportunity, not more profit than Toyota, because Astra manages not only Toyota but also Honda and the other brand. We still cannot conclude that Astra is bigger or have more profit than Toyota because they have different business process. So if you ask about who more profitable between trading or manufacturing, it depends because it's not apple to apple to compare about that. Can you get what I mean?
Yes.
So maybe they,
Except,
so maybe they should be both there in the same condition.
yeah, we should assume that both of manufacturing and trading in the same condition. Some company will say that trading is best for them because to manufacture they need to invest more of equipment and land and other. But some company will say that if we produce by ourselves, it will more profitable. So we should know that we cannot establish some trading company if we don't have any specialty in marketing or promoting our product. But in manufacturing, if they cannot promoting and marketing their product, they will ask help from trading company. So I think it's mutualism. Mutualism symbiotic. So we cannot compare both of because the business process is different. We can compare if they have the similar like Toyota and Honda. Okay, it's okay to compare it. Anything else? But I think there is another case that run not only for manufacturing but also for the trading as well. Do you know Polygon cycle? Cycle brand from Indonesia. Yeah. Okay. Bike from Indonesia. They not only run in the production but also for the trading, but in different department. So the name is different. The bike brand is Polygon, but for trading, for marketing, they use different name, Rodalink. But in the same company. So when you ask me who is more profitable, it's different one, even in the same company.
Do they have like a company that works for both trading and manufacturing? how does that for the income statement works? For example, like if we make a game, we create our own and then we publish them and we sell them. Does that count as manufacturing or trading or both?
We will make a report for both. If you ask about, we should know who will publish the report, the company or only one of their department. If the whole company, so they should make both. How can they get the report?
Like the manufacturing.
Also from the department,
Okay.
either for manufacturing or
Also for like polygon company, the manufacturing and the trading is all different company.
No, in the one company, I forgot the name. In something. This is the company, but below that company there is some department with different business process. Some in production, some in trading, and the other one in shipment. They also have shipment company, a small subsidiary. We can call it subsidiary. So the in something is the holding company and sub-holding company. There is another one and run in different business process. Or maybe I will give you another example. The agriculture holding company in Indonesia. They have 3 or 4 sub-holding company. The first, but I'm not sure about the business process. But the first, I think it's all about production method. The difference is the first focus on sugar company. The other one focus on the palm company. And the next one, I don't remember, tea or maybe something else. Yeah, but they are below one holding company. So when holding asks to give some report like Rio question, they will collect the data from all of the sub-holding.
So based on the business process that they do, they have to report what they do.
Yeah, like that.
Okay.
You should report to your boss eventually. Okay, anything else? And next, let's start to discuss about cost behavior analysis. Okay, for the cost behavior analysis, we will have some menu starting from what meaning of cost behavior, cost classification. We already discussed about cost classification, but now we will focus on fixed and variable costs. And then determining cost behavior pattern and linear function estimation method. Maybe I will finish to the determining cost behavior pattern, and we will discuss later about linear function estimation method. Okay. What the meaning of cost behavior? In here, cost behavior means the relationship between total cost and change in activity volume. So because there is a activity volume, what kind of cost indicate the activity volume? The fixed cost or variable cost?
The variables.
Variable cost, yeah, because the volume will, the cost will depend by the volume, the variable cost. The purpose of knowing cost behavior is to have the decision making, estimating future costs, and evaluating the implementation of action. And based on the change in activity volume, we have fixed costs, variable costs, and semi-variable costs. Okay, I will briefly explain about the fixed cost. In fixed cost, the cost is total amount remains constant within a certain range of change in activity volume. Okay, so we should emphasize that there is a certain range. So the value of constant not always be the same till the end of the machine or the activity in some company, but the constant will still the cost will still constant in some activity level. So for example, in this graph we can see that the cost for fixed cost in activity level from 0 to 30 is still in below the 400. But when we have 30 to 70 activities, the cost will be higher. Could you explain about this phenomenon? Why the fixed cost can change even we state that fixed cost is constant in certain activity level.
Can I give like for example?
Yeah.
For example, a company has like a low activity level in production.
Mm-hmm.
So it means the total cost is not
The fixed cost.
the fixed cost is going to be high. It's not going to be high, but if the activity level of the production from the company
Mm-hmm.
is high, it means the fixed cost must be increased.
Almost correct. It will increase when the activity level is increased. Yeah, but the number of increasing from fixed cost is not linear related to the activity, the increasing of activity. So do you know why it's still constant? But it increased. When so for example like this one. When some manufacturer first can produce 30 uniform, they only need one sewing machine. But in the future, the other customer come and order more than 30 uniform. So if they still they ask to have the same time to produce, what the manufacturer should do? Buy more machine. Yeah, that's why in this graph there is a constant cost, but in different time frame, because there is a different investment that will be held. So in this one, maybe there is only invest for one machine. In this one, 2 machines, because one machine is not enough to accomplish the target. And the next one is have the similar information. Okay, that's why in the fixed cost we have committed fixed cost and discretionary fixed cost. In committed fixed costs are incurred even when the company is not operating. So like Father said, when the company don't have any job, they still will incur some costs because we already invest previously. But in discretionary fixed costs arising from periodic annual budgeting decision that directly reflect top management policy getting the maximum allowable cost. So in this discretionary fixed cost, usually it's planned before the job is running. So we plan it first and then make sure that the cost is under the maximum allowable cost. And it's depend from the decision for management policy. Okay. This is the discretionary fixed cost. And the next one is variable cost. Okay. And variable cost we already understand that total amount change in proportion to change in the volume of activity. So there is a linear graph, not constant graph, but linear graph, depends on the total amount of activity. So the increasing of activity will impact for the increasing of the variable cost. The A line is calculated or planned variable cost, and our study in cost analytic is to. Do you still remember what is the one function of this study cost analytic? Because we want to compare between the planned cost and the actual cost, or we want to compare between one cost in one period to another period. In this graph, we can see that the planned and variable and actual variable cost, there is a difference. So we should analyze whether this cost is still in our budgeting term or not. Feeling cool? Okay. And the next is about variable cost. Some we call it as proportionally variable cost, and the other one is step variable cost. Step variable cost, like the fixed cost, but it still increase by the increasing of activity volume. So increasing in one step to another step, but in proportionally variable cost, when one activity increase and the cost will increase one cost. It looks like marginal cost. And the next one is the semi-variable cost. For the semi-variable cost, costs that have fixed and variable elements in them. So what the existence of semi-variable cost, because minimum setup may be required, or minimum quantity of equipment or service may need to be used to maintain operational readiness. So because some equipment asks to still have some activity, that's why the fixed cost still occur. But when the activity is more than the minimum setup, it will be the variable cost, represent the portion of semi-variable affected by change in activity volume. So for the example, this is the graph that we can describe the semi-variable cost. The A line is the fixed cost element. So if we want to produce some product, we have the minimum activity we should do. When we reach the minimum limit, it still include in fixed costs. But when we reach in the above from the minimum limit, it will be calculated as the variable cost. That's why when we combine variable and the fixed cost in the one cost together, we use this term of semi-variable cost. Okay, we already discussed about the difference between variable, semi-variable, and fixed cost. You can turn off this one if you still. Any question before we move to the next part?
Does the B line defines like the max allowable cost? Or?
The B line is the planned cost. So we usually estimate this cost before we start the operation procedure. This is the planned cost. Or in Indonesia we call it rencana anggaran biaya. Have you joined some organization now?
Yeah, ada ART.
Yeah.
Ada ART.
Some have experience become the treasurer.
Iya. Treasurer kan?
Dara.
Oh, nah.
Anyone become treasurer in some activity?
High school and high school.
Yeah, yes.
You should try. Yeah, you should try.
It's complicated.
Yeah, it's complicated. Then
Opsi kung ano.
to be secretary, I think it's better to be the treasurer because more challenging.
Mhm.
Yang boleh marah-marah ke ketua itu cuma bendahara. Kalau sekretaris kan bolehnya nyatat dan mengingatkan. Ya, peribaiknya bendahara, peribaiknya sekretaris. I mentioned to them that in an organization, an angel, if you want to be an angel in an organization, you should choose to be secretary. But if you want to be the devil one, yeah, please choose to be the treasurer.
Tapi suka diancam loh.
Iya, kenapa begitu? Karena bendahara di awal sudah harus menetapkan rencana anggaran biaya. Kalau ada yang melenceng, even itu ketua, ya dilibas saja supaya tidak rugi. Seperti itu. Oke. Anything else? And now we come to the main menu. The first is about determining cost behavior pattern. Have you learned about regression method already? Analisis regresi, statistik inferensial.
Belum.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay. Actually, it's about regression method. So we predict some cost behavior pattern, and we know about how the variable cost, how activity can affect the cost that we should burn. Okay. So in factor, there are two factors. The first one, Y, is dependent variable. Cost whose behavioral pattern will be investigated, and X, independent variable, something that causes the cost to fluctuate. So this is the source why the cost fluctuated, and this is the impact from the source why the cost fluctuated. Okay. So the relevant range of activity where the relationship between the independent and dependent variables state in the cost function apply, we use the function of y equal to function x, or in high school maybe you study about gradient, y equal to mx plus constanta. Yeah, it's similar one. Y equal to a plus bx. We replace m to be a. In here we say that a is intercept. So when the value of the variable y, if x is 0, imagine that this x is indicate the activity. When there is no activity, we still bear the cost, particularly the fixed cost. Yeah. So the A usually indicate the fixed cost, and B, the slope, the increase in the value of y if x increased by 1 unit. Yeah. The variable cost will indicate in the B slope. For determining the cost behavior pattern, in this subject, we assume that there is linear relationship. We don't consider the other relationship, either the quadratic or the curve relationship. We assume all of the relationship is linear. Okay. The technological relationship between input and output must be linear, and the input purchases must be the same as the input use. There is the example for independent variable, like unit of product produced, weight of raw material, and distance travel. Okay, let's move to the estimation method. We can use historical approach or analytical approach. For historical approach, we analyze cost behavior in the past in relation to change in activity volume during the same period. So based on the historical data, we can get some cost behavior, and we estimate what to the next cost. The method include in historical approach like highest and lowest point, cost per serving method, scatter graph, and least square. We will discuss highest and scatter graph today, and least square for the next meeting. And the analytical approach, the cooperation between technical personnel and budget preparation staff to conduct study related to function, to determine the importance of this function, the most efficient method, and so on. For analytical approach, you will study about this method in operational research, I think, but not related to course. But you study about how to prepare some function to optimize some resource. Yeah, it's will related in operational research. Right now, you take the second or the first operational research. The first operational research with who?
Pak Himawan.
Pak Himawan.
Yes.
Again.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Pak Himawan and
Not sure.
not sure. Pak Himawan already joined the class.
Yes.
So this is the case study for our analysis. So right now there is a company, per company have information about electricity costs and direct labor costs. We have the information for 1 year, starting January to December, and there is electricity costs and direct labor costs per month, and we have the total and also the average cost per month. And from this case study, let's try to solve or predict the cost behavior using high and low point, standby cost, scatter graph, and least square. The easiest method, we start from the easiest one, high and low points method. From the data we get from the case study, we know that the highest point and lowest point for cost and activity respectively, highest point is in the December, okay, and the lowest point should be in the July or August, okay. And then please remember the direct labor hours as well. The December they have 48 and in the July August 26. So there is no difference. We can take one of them. And then here we calculate the difference between the highest point and lowest point. So by cost the difference is 180, and from the activity level the difference is 22,000 activity. Thus the variable rate we can divide between the cost and the activity level. So the variable rate is 0.008 per direct labor hour. Okay. Based on the variable rate, we can calculate the fixed cost by using the information of total costs and variable costs. From total cost, we already have the information from the case study. This one. This is the similar one. Okay, total cost for the highest is 680 and for the lowest is 500. Okay, and variable cost we can calculate by multiply the variable rate and the activity. So we have 393 from variable rate 0.008 multiplied by which one? 48,000. And for the lowest 213 we can get from variable rate multiplied by 26,000. Okay. And then we can have the fixed cost by calculate the difference between total cost and variable cost. So we now have the fixed fixed cost in 287, either for the highest and the lowest. And you still remember that fixed cost is still the same even the activity changes. And here we can correct that the highest and the lowest have the same fixed cost. And the next one is we can make the equation based on the formula y equal to fixed cost plus the variable rate multiplied by the activity level. From the high and low points method, is there any question? Well, if there is no question, then next is the standby cost method. For the standby cost method, the cost incurred at the level of 48 direct labor hours. Fixed costs, we assume in this one, the fixed cost for the standby cost is 180. And the difference is 400, because we try to assume that the cost incurred at this level, wait a minute, 48, okay, 48 in December, the electricity cost is 180, 600, 680, so 680, and then if we assume that the standby cost is 400, then we have difference in 280. This is assuming by the company. You can use the another value, 300, 500, or anything else. It's okay. But in this example, we assume that the standby cost is 400, and then the variable cost per hour we can obtain from the difference 280 divided to 48,000, and the variable cost per hour become 0.005. Then it will imply there is the change for the formula. The first one is y equal to 287, but in the standby cost, when we assume or we put the higher fixed cost, what happened with the variable rate here? Lower or higher? When the fixed cost is higher, then the variable cost, the variable rate become lower, because we still have the same total cost. So you can see here in this high and low point method, the fixed cost is lower and the rate is 0.008. But in standby cost, when we put the standby cost in 400, the variable rate become 0.005. Then if there is one question, if we put the standby cost in 1700, how we can predict the variable rate? Become higher or lower than this one? If we assume the fixed cost or standby cost is 700,
It's
lower than 0.005, because the fixed cost take more proportion in the total cost than the variable cost. But as I mentioned, standby cost defined by the company, so there is only assumption. You can use another value here. And the last for today is about scatter graph method. Do you know scatter graph? Scatter, distribute, scatter, grafik pencak, scatter graph. So in the scatter graph method, we know that there is cost analyzed to be the dependent cost. It will illustrate by y-axis, but related activity, independent variable, it will illustrate as the x-axis. And better than the highest and lowest point method because we will using all available data. Why it better? In highest and lowest, what is the weakness? Because we just examine.
It doesn't show any graph.
Because we not only the graph, but we just examine the highest and lowest point. We don't consider about the range if there is any variation of the data. In the highest and lowest, we try to consider only the maximum and the minimum. But how about the distribution of data? We don't consider in the highest and lowest point. That's why maybe in the highest and lowest point method, it's not really accurate to interpret the cost behavior. Scatter graph method using all of available data, so we can have exactly the pattern about the cost behavior. In the scatter graph method, not yet. Okay, in the scatter graph method, we know the average monthly cost. Why we take the average, not the maximum or minimum?
It looks the whole data.
Because it looks the whole data. You know the mean usually become the representation of data, become the expected value of data that represent a lot of data. That's why in the average monthly cost, we took the whole of data by using the value of average or mean. In the average monthly cost, it already mentioned here, average per month is 570. And the direct labor hours, the average is 35. So right now here, for average monthly cost and fixed element, if we assume the fixed element is 440, okay, monthly average become 130, and we can calculate the variable cost per direct labor hour by divide the 130 to the average of monthly direct labor hours, which is 35,000. Then, like we already analyzed before, when the fixed cost higher, the variable rate become lower. We can use the scatter graph method. Like the standby cost, we also can replace the value of fixed element, like you wish, okay? Because this is assumption for this. And next week we will discuss about this square method. Yeah, this is the regression method actually. I hope Pak Himawan already discussed it before me. Yeah, should be. So it will easier to discuss about this method in cost analysis as implementation. Before we finish this class, do you have any question? Okay, like the previous one, we should schedule for the replacement class for the cost analysis. I hope this week, but if cannot perform in this week, let's make it in the next week. And in the 2 weeks later, that's ask about your schedule. Do you have any schedule in the morning